Hey, it's Andrew Roach with the Roach Family Real Estate Team. I got a tip for you, and it's dealing with multiple offers. So this is take one, no redos. So dealing with multiple offers, right now we're in a real estate market where you're getting a lot of these right now, especially if you're in the Toronto area, Mississauga. We're certainly getting them a lot in Milton here. So one of the questions that a lot of people have is, how do you compete in multiple offers? Sometimes, depending on the buyer, or sorry, the seller rather, it may be all about price, but sometimes, and actually a lot of the time, it's not only price. So you want to get an idea of how can you strengthen your offer without putting yourself at risk. So number one will be, know your max, right? Know what your absolute most that you can go in at, because you don't want to get into that bid war situation where you're then extending yourselves and then you're having regrets or whatever. Now all of a sudden you think you overdid it, and now you can't afford it, that kind of stuff. So know your ceiling, know what your max is, and know that you're not going to go above that, and be okay with it, right? So if your max is like say 500,000 and you look online and you find out that it sold for 505, you're okay with that, right? You're okay that it went over your max. So know your max. The next thing would be put your best foot forward. What that means is, depending on the market that you're in, and talk to your real estate agent about the strategies as to how best to approach a multiple offer situation. But it might be, go in at your max and say, hey, this is it. This is our first and final offer, is the best one. Or you may want to play a bit of a game, because you know that a lot of the time real estate agents, no matter what the offers are, no matter how far apart they are, they're going to come back and say, whoa, wow, geez, you guys, everybody was so close. You have no idea, you're so close. Can you do a bit more? It happens all the time, all right? So you might want to play into that a little bit, whereby you can say, hey, no, that was it. That was our max. Or you might say, okay, here's another 5,000. But you planned for that, all right? So then your second one, your 5,000 is your max, or whatever the case may be. So go in, don't go in kind of low and all that kind of stuff. If you're in a multiple offer situation and you want the house, you got to go in best foot forward. The next one will be pre-approved. And that is not going to your bank and saying, hey, how much can I afford? And they say, we think it's this much. I mean, get pre-approved. That means going and bringing your job letters, employment letters, having your credit pulled, like a hardcore pre-approval. Even to the point where you'll pull a real estate listing and say, hey, lender, this is the house I'm buying. Do I qualify, right? I'm talking about pre-approval. That's what I'm talking about, not a pre-qualification, whereby you're comfortable with maybe not going in with financing conditions, right? That's up to you, 100% up to you. However, that's a strategy that you could use to make sure you just get pre-approved beforehand. Instead of doing it after the fact and say, hey, this is the house I bought, do I qualify? Do it before. I want to buy this house, do I qualify? Get a pre-inspection, so what I mean by getting a pre-inspection is, again, if you really want this house and you're confident that your max is going to be, you're really confident you're going to get it, you might want to invest the money ahead of time and get a pre-inspection. So you might, in one of your showings beforehand, book a long showing and say, hey, I'm getting a pre-inspection, I'm bringing my home inspector through. You're going to have to pay for that, and there's a chance you're not going to get it back, but at the same time, it's no different than buying the house, winning it, conditional on a home inspection, and then finding out there's a problem, right? So it's a gamble, but it's worth it. That way, again, you're going in confident that there's no problems with the house, your financing is in order, you already know that, so you can go in firm, right? That's another strategy that you can have. And then another one is give them their preferred closing if you can. And you know what? This is a huge one for people. It's not always about price. It's not always about deposit down, and sometimes not even about conditions, right? Preferred closing. So I mean, if they want some wonky closing because maybe they bought another house and they don't want to have to shuffle, or they bought a new build and whatever the reason, they don't want to do the shuffle. As far as like having a bridge period, getting bridge loans, having to move twice, whatever the case may be. If you can give them like a September 10th closing, right in the middle of the month, in the middle of the week, whatever the case may be, that nobody else really wants to do, or it may just strengthen the deal a little bit, right? Just offer that onto the table. Hey, look, there's no problems here, and then you can and then of course, depending on how you did, you may be going in firm. I got it pre-inspected. I'm giving you your closing. I'm already pre-approved, and I might not be the highest bidder, but everything else is in line, right? And I'm probably not too far behind. So this is a really great strategy to position yourself as best as possible going into a multiple offer situation. Hey, I'm not going to lie to you. It doesn't always work because some people, it's only about money. They'll bridge for 2 months, as long as they get the most money possible, right? So it doesn't always work, but it works a lot of the time, and we win a lot of our multiple offer situations using this strategy, all right? So if you have any questions about this or anything else real estate related, please feel free to reach out. I'm Andrew Roach with the Roach Family Real Estate Team.